Forgive him, Lord, for he knows not what he does. Listen, let me preface everything I'm about to say with this. Checo Perez fans, you can go and take a coffee break. You're not going to like anything, any of the truth that we're going to talk to over the next 10 minutes or less. But we need to speak some truth to this, because mediocrity, we cannot celebrate it, not in high level sports alone, let alone F1. What are we doing here, Checo Perez? You've just signed the 1+1, and still at the Canadian Grand Prix. I see you trundling round, sir. The indignity of having your rear wing half off. I prayed and prayed that Checo Perez incident, that the after effects of which was caused by somebody else, not of his own doing, only to then go and see the replay and be disappointed. Checo Perez, of course, crashed of his own accord. Oh, the humanity. What are we doing here? You are one of 20, Checo Perez. You are one of the lucky ones, meant to be one of the best drivers in the world. Now, I know, for the avoidance of doubt, if I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second, changeable conditions is difficult. You can never put me in that. I don't have the skills or the nous or the racecraft or the feel requisite to drive around a track in those conditions in an F1 car. This is hard, high-level stuff. But Checo Perez used to be one of the very good ones. Lest we forget Abu Dhabi 21 and Turkey, defensive exploits that the likes of Jim Clark, Fangio, Michael Schumacher, the truly great ones, would be proud of. It would be a disservice then in that context for me not to criticise the Mexican Minister of Defence. Is he even worthy of that moniker anymore? Is he? Really? Are we doing that title a disservice? 1+1, behave yourself. Christian Horner, you could see the disappointment on his face. He felt let down. Helmut Marko too. And again, Helmut Marko's been talking all of this xenophobic stuff, hence why I'm rooting for Checo Perez to prove that fella wrong. Go out there and show and prove in your performances, sir. Now, it is a poison chalice, of course, that Red Bull second seat. Maximilian Verstappen is God tier. No one's going to tell me that he is the barometer of where that RB20 is. Absolutely not. Maximilian Verstappen is outperforming each and every single time. That's his 60th victory at 26 years old. He's 50th in the last 75 races. God tier numbers, if ever I have heard them. Absolutely, Checo Perez is on the bad end of that comparison for sure. It's difficult in that sense, but keep out of the barrier, chap. How about we get out of Q1 sometime, from time to time? Because the last two races, we haven't even gotten out of Q1, Checo Perez. Does Checo Perez, without fat shaming, does Checo Perez even look match fit to you? Does he look as lean and nimble as trim as a Max Verstappen or a George Russell? As an example, non-rhetorical question, and I think that speaks volumes and now has started to drip feed through to his performance. Helmut Marko, for the avoidance of doubt, thinks that this is psychological, owing to the changeable conditions, that his poor performance was a function of that. I don't know. Whatever it is, Checo Perez, you need to fix for it, sir. Nobody, as at June 2024, is going to tell me that this dude's performances, or underperformances to be precise, season to date, warrant a 1+1 extension at the premier team in the premier motorsport formula in the world. You are having an absolute laugh. He's got himself a penalty. The indignity, by the way, of trundling round that track with your rear wing doing one of these. What are we doing? What are we doing? Oh, the humanity. It's ridiculous. It's beyond ridiculous now. And for that indignity, he, of course, has received a 25,000 euro fine, of course, and a 3-place grid penalty at the next race. Doesn't rain. It pours for Checo Perez. I don't know how he's going to get out of this. He's going to need a Nico Rosberg-like focus. And you know what? The worst tragedy in and of all this is that there is a dearth, a plethora even, of young, hungry lions ready to get subbed on. Mention no names, Liam Lawson, who, by the way, has an exit clause in his contract if Red Bull, the parent team, haven't offered him a place, a seat in F1 by the end of this year /2025. That's how chaos this is getting. This is travesty, tragic even. Mention no names, Felipe Drugovich. Mention no names, Teo Pourchaire. Mention no names, Maloney. Andrea Kimi Antonelli is coming. Ollie Behrman too on the sidelines. There are a plethora of young, hungry lions, drivers, god tier ones, ready to seize the day. Carpe the MFing diem. Meanwhile, Checo Perez, his season to date is characterised, summarised even, by material underperformance. He's not even in the same stratosphere as his teammate Maximilian Verstappen. He was outperformed in quali by anywhere up to a second. F1, for the avoidance of doubt, chap, is a story told in tenths. 2 tenths per Lewis Hamilton, who was out-qualified by his teammate this weekend past, to the tune of 2 tenths, is a chasm in Formula 1 around a 70-second track. So then to get out-qualified by your teammate by upwards of a second is absolutely a travesty of justice. Unacceptable, Checo Perez. Your pimp card is revoked, sir. You are no longer worthy of the moniker of Mexican Minister of Defence. Not with performances like that. F1 is a story told in tense where what you have done for me lately is all that counts. What are we doing, Checo Perez? This is not good enough. We don't celebrate mediocrity around here unless you're Christian Horner handing out 1+1 deals. This is no bueno. No bueno, tío. You need to do better, chap. I empathise. Is it a difficult circumstance? Paradoxical even? How do you dig yourself out of this downwards momentum spiral if indeed you are the man formerly known as the Mexican Minister of Defence? I don't have the answers to that. Maybe he might want to find himself in the gym. Maybe he might want to meditate. Maybe he finds himself with a sports psychologist. Does he need to spend more time in Europe? Does he need to spend more time in the sim understanding Maximilian Verstappen's telemetry? Does he need to adjust his understeery racing style? I do not have the answers. These are all rhetorical questions. But I tell you what, this much I do know. That Sergio Checo Perez, Mexican Minister of Defence, has himself a humongous problem. This is a difference in extents and not kinds between himself and his teammate Maximilian Verstappen, and one that he needs to solve for imminently, lest he end up on the pile of F1 drivers who have never made it. It's going to be peak for him. Good luck, Checo, mate. I wouldn't want to be you. It's a very difficult Rubik's Cube of a motorsports problem that Checo Perez wants to solve for. Good luck, chap. Prosecution rests. No further questions, Your Honour.